Oh, man. I was dancing in my heart. She didn't know when she chose that song, but I had my legs here. Laid out. I love it. Thank you so much, Marsha. I love you so much. Beautiful soul. All righty. The topic today is deep dive. I meant to acknowledge before Nadia. Welcome to Agape Bay Area. Good to see you, my love. Yes. From heart and soul, one of our sister communities. Thank you. All right, so the deep dive. All week as I've been thinking about the deep dive. I tried to find a joke, by the way, but it's very odd, some of the jokes online, I have to say. She knows, she's researched them. Anyway, the joke is I couldn't find a joke. So anyway, that has to be it. So anyway, all week as I've been being with this deep dive, the image that keeps coming to my mind is when I was about 12 years old or so. I went to Catholic school, and in 7th and 8th grade, we always had this picnic at the end of the year. Oh, I don't like calling it a picnic, a gathering at the park. And at this park in Pasadena, because I was in Southern California, called Brookside Park. And there was this swimming pool, and there was this diving board that was like 40 feet in the air. And I loved swimming, I loved diving, so of course that was my challenge, this 40-foot diving board. And looking up at it, first of all, just to get up there was lots of steps, you have to know. And so, of course, I had to do it, you know. And so I did it. I was a little bit scared at first, but I did it. I was walking up the steps, and I got up on the platform. It wasn't a board, it was a platform. Got up on the platform, and I looked down. And I'll tell you, the pool looked like a postage stamp. It really did. And there's concrete all around it, you know, so I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, doggone it, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go for it. And by the way, I didn't die from it, let's be real clear. This was a jump, not a dive. And I jumped off it, and it was so exhilarating. Just surrendering to gravity, just surrendering to the water, just surrendering, you know. And I've always had a love affair with the water. When I was like about 4 or 5 years old, I had an experience where I was pulled underwater, and just remember in my mind, I thought, I could die right now, because the tide was really, there was a strong current. And I remember at the time just surrendering to it, just going, oh well, I'm 4 years old, oh well. And of course then I was pulled up, and my mother never even saw me, she was busy with my baby sister. So I've had this love affair with water, and really trusting that the water's always going to take care of me. And so that's what I was, you know, I did that dive. I had that positive experience with water. I did the dive. I did not fall on the concrete. The other possibility was that I was going to land on another swimmer. That wasn't a great possibility either. that I jumped and then, ooh, I'm on somebody. So, and the thing is, it was just so exhilarating, so wonderful. I spent most of that afternoon going back up to the diving board, to the platform. I can't even tell you how many times I did it, over and over and over and over again, because it was just so much fun and so exhilarating. And yes, every time I looked at that little postage stamp of a pool, it was a little bit scary, but not, but the exhilaration and the intention and the willingness was so much stronger than any kind of fear. And so I'm going to use that as a metaphor today for the deep dive into spirit, for the deep dive into spirit, the deep dive of devotion. As I said earlier, I always missed that aspect of new thought. And so I love that we go into the devotion life, the love of God. A couple of weeks ago when I talked about how God loves us, you know, how very much God loves us, that God so loved its idea of itself as us, that it has brought each one of us into expression. How beautiful is that? You know, that you are so loved and cherished by Spirit, that here you are, and here you are to be it on this earth plane. And so I spent the whole talk pretty much talking about that and about loving yourself. And today I'm turning the tables and saying, what about our love for God? What about our love for Spirit? You know, that love of spirit that allows us to surrender, that love of spirit that allows us to let go of our small idea of ourselves and to look at the infinite possibilities and to step into the vision of our life, knowing that we are always supported. So when I'm here talking about devotion today, I'm talking about surrender. I'm talking about letting go of control. I'm talking about opening up to your high possibility. I'm talking about going from using the universal law to letting it use us. You know, Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, toward the end of his life, he actually said, you know, I've been talking a lot, I'm paraphrasing, I've been talking a lot about using the law. He said, and really, it's a power that we can let use us. He made that shift because at the end of his life, he did a deep dive into mysticism. And he had that last mystical experience before he transitioned. And in that last mystical experience, he talked about, yes, the law is important and it's wonderful, and love is where we got to put our attention, is what he said, basically. And of course, I'm paraphrasing, like I paraphrased Jesus and all those dudes and dudesses. So it's about that step, you know, it's about moving from having a life that's focused on content, on what's going on in our life, to context. Where am I living my life from? Where am I living it from, you see? And so today, that's what I want to talk about a little bit. And I want to talk first about cultivating that devotion. How do I cultivate devotion to the infinite? How do I cultivate that surrender? How do I cultivate that letting Spirit use us? And I want to be clear as I talk about this that it's also important, by the way, to use the law when we need to. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes if we don't have certain life structures together, we can't really place our attention on Spirit because we're focused on money or on relationships or on livelihood or health or whatever it is. So I'm certainly not denigrating the use of the law, but what I'm saying is that's not the end of the road. The end of the road is, and there's no end, let's be clear, the end of the road is, you know, can I yield to Spirit? And I am telling you at the outset of this talk that yielding to Spirit, that living the surrendered life is so much, for me, I speak only from experience, so much easier than trying to control. And you know, we pray, and we can even pray from a place of control. Let's be clear about it. You know, when we're doing our affirmative prayer, our spiritual mind treatment, where am I praying from? Am I praying from that place of I know God is all there is? I know that my life is the life of God. I know that this person in front of me is God in the flesh. I know, therefore I know God, and just looking at all the qualities of the divine, and the other possibilities, I can pray from the place is I am affirming this car. You know, I am affirming this house. We can be much more specific and outlining about it. What I'm suggesting is that we really focus on the qualities of the prayer. We really focus on love, on harmony, on peace, on abundance, on those qualities, because when we are living a surrendered life, and I'll get to how to get there in a minute, when we're living a surrendered life, then the law, the universal law, knows how to clothe those qualities into form, knows how to clothe them with form. So, you know, maybe I look at, I want a relationship in my life. What do I really want? That's the question. What is my heart's desire? It's never about the outer. Never, never, never. It's about the quality and consciousness. You know, does my soul want connection? I don't know what's going on with the, you don't know either, okay. Excuse me, I just had this thing. Do I want connection? Do I want love, the experience of love? Do I want harmony? What is the quality that I'm looking for when I want relationship? Then we go to that quality, not, do you want me to use this? Yep. Okay. Is it on? Is it on? There we go. Oh, yay, thank you. I mean, I was thinking if it was distracting for you, it must be twice as distracting for you. So those qualities. So we're moving from looking at this is and it's not that it's bad to want specific things. Of course it isn't. But go to what is my soul desiring? Because my soul is desiring to express something. And whatever that soul is desiring, I get to affirm it, I get to know it, because it's already present within me. See, it's already there within me, so I affirm it, I know it. And then the law that knows exactly how to bring everything into form does so. It brings it into perfect form, it brings it into perfect manifestation. So I got kind of off on that, because I wanted to really let you know that second stage, that using the law isn't a bad thing. In fact, sometimes we've got to use it to get to the next place. So then how do I cultivate this place of devotion? And I was looking online, because one of the ways I cultivate devotion is I look at the beauty around me. I look at nature. I look at the way God synchronizes my life without me even having to try. I don't have to effort. I look at the way grace works in my life. I look at how even in a time of breakdown, there's always a breakthrough at the other end. I look at all of those things and I marvel at it, because I know I myself don't do this, I know that the presence within me is accomplishing this, and how wonderful that is. So I found this quote. And the reason I'm going to read it is because it's by a Native American. And at first I thought it was a man, and it turns out it's a woman, and it's a Catholic nun, of all things. Why do Catholic people always come to my awareness? So her name is Sister Jose, sounds like a man, right? Jose Hate, and she's an elder in the Seneca tribe. She made her transition, I think it was 2009. So here's what she says, and I think this is a beautiful way to start the day and to cultivate that sense of devotion and appreciation for the infinite. She says, plant your feet firmly on the earth. Using your 5 senses, give thanks to our Creator God for the countless ways God comes to us through creation. For all the beauty that your eyes see, for all the sounds that your ears hear, for all the scents that you smell, the taste that you taste, for all that you feel, sun, wind, rain, snow, warm or cold. Pray this day that you may be open and attuned to the countless ways that our Creator God comes to us through your senses, through the gifts of creation. Imagine starting every day, and I know many of you, as I do, start the day with gratitude. Gratitude for this new day, gratitude for the blessings of the day. And which is just a beautiful way to cultivate devotion. Gratitude is one of those ways that we cultivate it. How many things can I find to be grateful for? How often during the day can I thank and appreciate people? Like, I'm thinking right now, my heart is so full, I'm appreciating each and every one of you. Thankful for each and every one of you, because I see the essence of who you are, the beauty of who you are. Outside, and one of the things I miss the most about wearing this lovely thing is not being able to take those walks in nature that I'm accustomed to, and yet I have this faculty of remembrance as well. And I can remember, and I can still be in that place in consciousness. So giving thanks, just being grateful, finding how much can I be grateful for, and not just grateful for things that are already present in my life, grateful for that infinite field in which all things are possible, grateful for what's moving through me through that field, grateful for all of that, the known and the unknown, grateful for the challenges. This has been an interesting year for me, 2021, with the flooding in my place, with this, with, just other challenges. And I have to say, because somebody said, wow, that must just have been so hard. And it really wasn't. It really wasn't. Because I've known beyond a shadow of a doubt that Spirit is orchestrating my life. And that's the reason I know that is because I have that sense of whole soul devotion that Michael was talking about. I have the love of God within me. I know that God is always for me and never against me. I know that everything that always works together for good. I know that as much as I know anything. More than I know the things that I see in the outer realm. I know that to be true. That's from a place of whole soul devotion, right? So I'm encouraging you to really cultivate that devotion to the infinite. And when I'm saying to the infinite, I'm talking about nothing outside of you, but the divine self that you are. That devotion to that self that is so beautiful, that is so radiant, you know. And you can think of God, because when I first got into this teaching, I missed the personal aspect of God. Anybody here miss that when you first got into New Thought? I missed that personal aspect. And then I realized, as I deepened in consciousness, I realized that the personal aspect of God is through each one of us. It personalizes itself through each one of us. You know, the beauty that each one is. And so cultivating that whole soul devotion, gratitude. And then the next thing I would say, cultivating that whole soul devotion is, what are you interested in? Simple question. What are you interested in your life? Where is your deepest interest, so to speak? And from my life, from the time I was a young girl, my interest was in spirit. Now, not everybody starts off that way. We all start off differently, you know. And at some point in our lives, and because you're here now, I would imagine that you're interested in spirit, that you're interested in devotion, that you're interested in the mystic way of life, the mystery of life, so to speak. So where am I interested? Because where my interest is where my energy goes, right? What I'm paying attention to, then the energy is directed there. And so when I'm interested in cultivating a devoted life, and I've actually had some metaphysicians say, oh, why would I want to do that? That's just, you know, because that devoted life is the life of grace. It's the life where everything's working together beautifully, you know? Am I interested in that? Am I interested in being the mystic on this earth plane? You know, and if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not a mystic, not so. We're all potential mystics. We all have that. And I would say, because, you know, I know most of you in here, that you are that. So are you interested in cultivating that? Are you interested in I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound like God's outside, and that's not what I mean. Are you interested in a love affair with spirit? Are you interested in a love affair with spirit? You know? Are you interested in courting the presence of God? You know? Like you would in a relationship, in wooing the infinite. That's what I'm talking about today. About that deep, deep sense of love. And where you put that interest, and where you put that energy, that's what will fuel you. That's what will continue to grow in your life. And here's the thing, you can't make it happen, everybody. And I think you all know this. We can do all these things, and we can set the environment in our consciousness, and we cannot make it happen. I've often said, if I could be totally enlightened overnight, I would be already, you know, because I would make it happen, dang it, you know. Can't make it happen. But what we can do is we can provide that inner environment within our consciousness, that love of God, that interest in spirit, courting that presence. And the way I court the presence is every day in meditation. Every day being open to knowing my oneness with spirit deeply, more and more and more deeply, knowing that not even oneness with, that word with kind of is separation, you know? Spirit as my life. And as I know it as my life, I know it is your life because there's only one life. So spirit as, you know, can I cultivate that deep love affair with the infinite? And then what I notice is that I'm in love with everybody. You know, I'm in love with everything. But it's not hard to love people. That it becomes easy. Now, does that require a little bit of hard work? Yeah, sometimes. Because I have to, you know, be willing. I have to be willing to let go of judgments. I have to be willing to let go of defenses. I have to be willing, so it's continually that willingness. And as I love the infinite more and more and more, then that's what I experience. Makes sense. Basic metaphysics, right? What I'm interested happens. So cultivating that interest in the divine. Just where's my attention? Where's my interest? And gratitude. And then being willing to surrender. And what do we mean by surrender? I like Reverend Michael's definition. We are surrendering not to some God outside of us. Surrender means I'm surrendering, I'm yielding to the next stage of evolution in my own consciousness. That's what I'm surrendering to, the next evolutionary stage of my own consciousness. It's surrendering to the pull of becoming more. Not that we aren't already the allness, but becoming more and more in our expression of it on this earth plane. Because there's always room to evolve, always room to grow. The universe is always evolving, always growing. Spirit's always evolving, always growing in its expressions. And so when I talk about surrender, that's what I'm surrendering to, really. I'm surrendering to what's pulling me, what's next, you know? And I'm doing it in the now. Those of you in the practitioner training, and there are a few of you here, or if you're TAs in the practitioner training, know how much we've been talking about being in the now, surrendering in the now. But in the now, there's no past, there's no future. So in the now, surrender becomes easy, because in the now, I don't have any past regrets, I don't have any past patterns, I don't have any future anxiety, future worry. In the now, all there is now and the breath and the oneness. That's all that there is. And so for me, that practice of being in the now makes it easy to surrender. I think that's what made it easy when I jumped off that high dive. I won't even say how many years ago, years and years and years ago. It just made it easy because I surrendered to the water. The water was my friend. I had a love affair with water, you see, and I just trusted and knew. Plus, I think something in me at that age also knew that Spirit was taking care of me. You know how when we're kids, we kind of know, a lot of us know that. So all of that is just to say, to really cultivate that whole soul devotion. I like that word, whole soul, like I'm giving my all. You know, many people on the spiritual path go just so far and then that's it. And I don't blame them at all, you know, because it's not an easy path sometimes. Sometimes it can be challenging, but the thing is, as you walk that narrow pathway that Jesus the Christ talked about, you know, take the narrow road, it becomes the wide road because your expression becomes easier and easier and easier, and grace fills your life. I can't begin to tell you. And that's what I want for all of you, is a grace-filled life where there's ease, you know, where you don't have to try to control everything, where you can surrender to the greater oneness. It will always take care of you, everybody. It always will. It can't forsake you. It can't abandon you. You are its own. You are it. How can it turn against you? So in a sense, when we really get that, when we really get that oneness, you know, we know it's easy to surrender, really and truly. It's easy to yield. It's easy to let go of control because we realize, you know, my control wasn't really doing a great job of it. You know, it wasn't really turning out so great when I was trying to control things. See? So I understand wanting to. Good Lord, I have two daughters and 3 granddaughters, you know, very matriarchal family. But, I have daughters. I know what it's like to want to control, you know, someone's life. Just to see that they're not going down a great path here. And that's their path, you see. Whatever is happening, you know, our job isn't to try to control, it's to surrender to the greatest, the highest possibility, and to know the truth in every situation. To see beyond the appearance to the highest truth. That's what it's all about. And we have come, as I've often said, for a time such as this, because look at all the challenges around us. Look at the news. I mean, I could go into that big time this week, but I'm not going to. You know, look at everything going on around us. And our job is to stand in the oneness, stand in truth, to see the reality, and from that place we're divinely guided to do. Some of us are guided to take a physical stand for things. Some of us are guided to pray, to do prayer circles. Some people are guided to have vigils. You look at what you are guided to do. Be open. Spirit, what would you have me do? Use me. That song, Use Me. What would you have me do? How am I to be your hands, your feet, your heart, your voice on this earth plane? And when I am in whole soul devotion to the infinite, then I know. It becomes really clear. And no matter what anybody tells me, I know that this is what I am supposed to be doing. And I have to clear the window of my perception. I have to make sure I'm in that place of purity of consciousness that Reverend Michael talks about. When I am devoted, I am in a pure consciousness that re-qualifies everything. What does that mean? This is the last point I'm making. What does that mean? That means that all of the old emotional patterns, all of the old thought forms, all of the old ways of viewing things, all of those places that keep me stuck, all of those places that create havoc in my life, these things get re-qualified. They become, what can I say? They are turned into something for good. They are turned into the spiritual qualities. I'm not getting the words for them now, but I'm seeing in my head what wants to happen here. So when I am in a place of purity, of devotion to the infinite, things change without efforting. Being willing, not willful, but willing. Am I willing to live a full and fulfilled life? Am I willing to live my highest possibility? Am I willing to really express the very presence of God on this earth plane? Am I willing to give up all that does not serve that? That's a whole other talk, of course. So cultivate gratitude, cultivate, what am I interested in? Being willing to surrender. People have often said, how do you surrender? How do you make yourself surrender? You can't make yourself surrender. Just be willing. Just be willing. And just woo the presence, court the presence. Be willing to sit with the presence. Be willing to let it love you. I shared a couple of weeks ago that night that just Spirit came to me and it was like, let me love you, Be still, let me love you. Let yourself be willing to be loved. And that love of Spirit will show up as love from other people as well. It'll show up as loving circumstances. And it will requalify your life. It will change what's the dross into gold. It will do that. The great alchemist. Okay, I think I have said enough. Enough. Later I'm going to look at my notes and go, oh man. All right, so let's take a moment now and turn within.